1. I was a traffic cadet at an event at the city's train station. What I have on: blue pants with 2 reflective stripes, a vest with our designation VK for traffic cadets in German, a beret, tie, and black steel cap shoes. The cast: VK, me, EL, my supervisor, S, security guard, K, as most know as Karen, M, manager. The real story. It was around noon. My supervisor called me by radio and said that I have a 45-minute break. Another traffic cadet replaced my position and I went to a grocery store. I went to the bread department and took a small bun. Karen joined the game. When I packed the bun in a bag, I felt a hand on my shoulder. I was surprised to find someone wanted something from me. I turned, and it was Karen. The "I want to talk to your manager" haircut, in her 30s, smaller than me. I'm 180 centimeters tall, 6 feet for the Americans, and she was a head shorter than me. Here's how the conversation went. "What do you want?" "I have a boy who just drinks from the bottle." "And I should do what now? Arrest him?" "Yes, you do that." "Unfortunately, I cannot do that because 1, I do not work here, 2, I'm on a break, and 3, I'm clearly not wearing the same clothes as the security." "Do not lie to me." "I'm trying to politely ask you to get out of my way. I just want to pay." I start to walk, but I'm held back by Karen. She grabs my arm. She hit me. "Do not just leave a woman. Do what I have said to you." "Excuse me? Why are you slapping me?" "I didn't do anything to you, and I'll repeat myself, I do not work here. Now I'm going to push you back to a safe distance." "Do not touch me." I'm trying to reach my supervisor and said, "I'm just being beaten by a woman."
"What? Where are you?"
I gave the store name.
"I'm on my way."
I ran back to the drinks to hide from the wild Karen. She follows me and hits me once again and screams at me, "Why are you walking away, you little piece of shit? I'm going to get you fired." The store manager hears our loud conversation and runs to us.
"What's going on here?"
"This woman assaulted me." Karen cuts me off. "No, you did. You're not doing your job right, and this guy drinks without paying for it."
"Ma'am, please stop screaming."
My supervisor arrives and comes to see us, my cheek red from Karen's slap.
"VK, are you okay?"
"Yes, I am, but this woman slapped me because I wouldn't help her with a guy that drank a cola without paying
"It's your job to do that."
"No, it's not. I don't work here. I work outside of the store at an event."
"Liar, liar, liar."
She turns to my supervisor. "I want this employee fired for being rude and assaulting and not helping me."
"Ma'am, calm down. We can review the camera footage."
Karen gets white, and her breath breaks. Me, my supervisor, Karen, and the manager walk into the staff area. But before that, the actual security guard comes in.
"Sir, this woman has slapped a person multiple times." "I know, let's look at the footage."
The manager sees Karen clearly holding my shoulder and turning me around, slapping me in the face. Karen started saying that I abused her, and I said, "That's not true. I was telling you that I don't work here and want to buy buns." She stopped talking, and the manager asked me if I wanted the police to look into this, and I replied, "No, I just want to have my break." He gave me a coupon for 10% off my next purchase as a sorry for this whole thing. I took it and left the store with my supervisor. After that, I continued my duty and go home after the event. Next day, I walked to my city's police and reported the whole incident. After a whole damn year, I received a message from them. Karen was found guilty of assaulting an authority. Yes, traffic cadets are friends with the police, and a fine of 800 Swiss francs. I showed it to my supervisor and we laughed about it. 2. Background. I am a full-time employee in a large British supermarket. I normally work the early morning shifts, 6 a.m. until noon, but on a Sunday my store is only open 11 till 5. So that's my normal shift. I have quite a few stories about Sundays, but this one happened 2 weeks ago today, and has to be one of the worst experiences I've had. This story. So 2 weeks ago, I was steadily working my way through my shift, waiting for that amazing moment when I could close up my till and go home. The clock was slowly ticking closer to 5, and I'd actually begun counting off customers as I knew I was coming closer to my last one of the day. It was around this time, just before 4:45, that my friend turned up at the store to wait for me to finish. We'd already arranged to hang out after work. as I'd assumed I'd get off on time. Fatal mistake right there. So she sits down nearby and I carry on serving. The announcements start going off informing the customers that the store is closing and they need to make their way to the checkouts. We do 3. 1 at 4:45, 1 at 10:02, and 1 at 5. Looking up the aisles, I can see that the store is emptying out. Great. I listen to the announcements, it gets to 5, and I only have 1 guy left at my till. Perfect. He has a fairly large shop, but it's all loaded up and ready to go, so it shouldn't take long. I start scanning him through, and he starts packing away his shopping. He's moving pretty slowly, but that's not too much of a problem, so I keep scanning. Except he's so busy chatting that the area that holds the products waiting to be packed is full. So I have to keep stopping to wait for him to clear it before I can carry on. Which is slow and frustrating. He slowly does this, all the while talking about how I must be so glad that the store is closed and he's my last customer, asking me about what I'm going to do when I get home, if I'm tired, etc. I try to just keep my customer service smile in place and answer with polite nothings. I only need him to pay so I can close up my till and leave. So I scan the last of his stuff and tell him his total. He presents his loyalty card, and then goes back to packing his shopping instead of paying. Now, normally I wouldn't mind, but it's after closing time and our policy is just to get the customer to pay so we can leave while they pack up. It's the manager's job to watch them and get them out of the store, not mine. Except he won't pay, and I'm running out of polite ways to prompt him. So I am left waiting while occasionally making eye contact with my friend while we wait for this guy to pay so I can close up and go. The whole time he's apologizing for taking so long, saying he wants to let me go home, etc., but he won't pay. Then along comes this lady who is pushing a trolley piled high with stuff. Trailing 2 excited and energized kids, it's 5:15. The rest of the tills have already closed, but here I am, still dealing with this guy. So she comes straight to my till and starts unloading. That's when this guy decided to pay, and after making some stupid comment about how he's not my last customer after all, how sad, trundles off on his merry way. It's almost as if it was planned. But I like to believe that people aren't actually that horrible. The lady is oblivious to this and keeps loading up her shopping, frequently stopping to wander back into the store to look at and pick up something else. Eventually my manager comes to stand beside the till and informs the lady that she can no longer go back for anything. She needs to just pay for what she's got and leave. This pisses the lady off, but she does as she's told and loads up her shopping. This whole time her kids are running wild through the store doing whatever they want. At one point, while I'm scanning through the products, they go up to our sweet stand and start eating the loose sweets. It's a pick and mix stand, so all the different sweets are kept in containers, which are easily opened. Which prompts my manager to act again, telling the lady to please control her kids or she'll need to pay for the sweets. The lady is pissed but tells her kids not to eat any more sweets. They stop eating, but they do run off into the depths of the store. I'm just sat there silently scanning through the products while the lady packs them, dying to just finish and leave. We get to the end, I tell her the total, and she tells me that she can't pay. She says she's left her card in her car, so she needs to go and get it. It's 5:30 by this point, and I have literally no idea what to do. My first instinct is to say no. She'll have to leave her shopping and come back tomorrow, but it's not my call, so I ask the manager. She also doesn't seem to know what the right answer is, but she tells the lady to quickly get her card and come right back. The lady says okay and tries to leave without her kids. Big no. She's made to go fetch her kids from wherever they've gotten to and take them with her. This takes a further 5 to 10 minutes, because she had no idea where they were. My manager has 2 employees trailing them, but we're not really allowed to interact with young children unless it's an emergency, so we're still running all over. All my manager could do was lead the lady around the store in hopes of catching up. I'm so done at this point, and I was actually thinking about quitting on the spot so I could leave. I didn't. My manager can see this, and with the biggest sigh I've ever heard, tells me to just go. She'll serve the lady personally and close up the till while I go home. Being the polite and stupid woman I am, I offer to stay and say through gritty teeth that it's fine, honestly. But my manager isn't having it, transfers the transaction to her own account and sends me on my way. I wave my friend over, who also works there but not that shift, and we head off so I can clock out and get changed. By the time I get sorted out and we go to my car, it's nearly 6, and we see that lady is only just going back into the store to pay for her shopping. I felt so bad for my managers, but also relieved that I didn't have to put up with it. I found out the next day that the lady didn't leave the store until at least 6:15, because she apparently didn't know her PIN and needed to phone her husband. Also, as soon as she got through the doors the second time, she just let her kids run wild again. So she needed to find them before she could leave again. I hate Sundays. 3. OL, old lady. GS grandson. M. me. This isn't a bad experience, but a funny one to remember. One day I was shopping at Joan Fabrics. I was in the fabric aisle and was looking around when I felt a tap on my shoulder. I turned around to see an old woman, about 70 or so, with a guy behind her. He looks to be about a year older than me, about 16 years old.
Excuse me, but you work here, right?
Keep in mind I'm wearing a dark blue sweater with a white Triforce on it. The employees wear a white t-shirt with a green apron with the company logo on it. I stand there for a second processing what she just said. Oh, no, I don't work here.
Oh, okay. But I need your help for 1 second.
She then brings her cart over to me. It has 3 big fluffy fabric rolls in it, a snowman, a reindeer, and a penguin pattern.
I'm making my grandbaby niece a blanket, and I need someone's advice on which one I should get him.
She then points to the guy who's standing right behind her. He's looking really embarrassed, like he just wants to leave.
I asked my granddaughter, and we all have different opinions, so I want someone to break the tie.
She looks at me and smiles.
So?
I like the snowman one.
I thought so too. GS, you're getting the snowman pattern.
She's literally jumping around with glee and had a huge smile. GS just covered his face in embarrassment. In a weird way, I felt embarrassed with him. She looked at me for a second.
Oh, what a lovely pattern.
I looked down and remember I had a roll of fabric in my arms. It was pink cherry blossoms on it with a black background. Oh, thank you.
You have a good eye for cute patterns. Say, can you help me out? I'm also trying to find a cute pattern for my 3-year-old granddaughter. I wanted to make her a dress for her birthday that's coming up in a week.
I have a soft spot for old people, and I didn't have the heart to say no, so I agreed. I won't forget how happy she looked when I said yes. She looked like she wanted to cry.
Oh, thank you. My granddaughter and grandson never really help when it comes to things like this. They usually just nod at everything and never actually help.
The grandson just kinda looks down. His face basically says, "Just kill me already," and goes bright red.
GS, you can go wait on the bench while us ladies go and shop.
He quickly nods and gives me an "I'm sorry" look and hurries away. We shop around for a while. She was really nice. She told me about her grandson and granddaughter. The type of stories a grandma would tell, the embarrassing ones. We find this pink pattern with strawberries and flowers on it. The entire time she's smiling and gleaming with joy.
I hope when she grows up she has a fashion eye just like you.
I thank her and she shops a little more, asking what would look nice on the dress and asking if frills would look nice on the bottom and what accessories would look good on it. After helping her out for about an hour and a half, she finishes shopping and goes to the checkout.
Thank you for putting up with me, and thank you for helping me out. I truly appreciate it.
It's no problem. I like shopping for fabrics and stuff. I actually sometimes shop with my grandma.
Your grandma raised you right. Also, here's a little something for wasting your time.
She then hands me $30. I declined, telling her it's all right, and that I had fun shopping with her. She kept insisting, and I gave in. She then hugged me and went on her way, waving at me as she left. I meet up with my mom, who I had forgotten about. Oops. Every time I go back in that store, I can't help but think of her and smile. I really hope her granddaughter loved the dress. 4. This story starts yesterday at about 10:15 to 10:30 p.m., after all the closing cashiers and shelf stockers leave. So we're left with our customer service manager, CSM, our actual manager, AM, me, and one other cashier, OC, and 3 stockers. We were all doing our thing. Because we were a smaller store, I was at the register checking out a line of about 5 people, and the other cashier was sweeping up the front. I started scanning the customer's stuff. A bunch of French breads when all of a sudden, the lights flicker and everything goes dark. A loud popping sound and alarms start going off, and I'm left with emergency power powering my register screen, basically blinding me with the bright blue and white UI and the sudden near absolute darkness. I'm looking around wondering what the hell to do when the actual manager rushes up behind me and tells me to get everyone out the door as soon as possible, which in hindsight was probably to prevent anyone from stealing, causing panic and hurting each other, etc. I found out from this event that I could actually do great in high-pressure situations, so immediately I start yelling, corralling and ordering all the people in line and getting them out the door alongside AM, who was forcing the doors open to let them out. It actually went rather smoothly, even with a couple of kids crying from the shock of it all. After they were all out, I was sent by AM to scour the rest of our store to see if there were any stragglers. So I fast-walked around the store, looking through each dark aisle to see any silhouettes of confused and/or stealing customers. No one was there except a couple customers in the pharmacy area who just turned on their phone flashlight and kept shopping. Which was really funny to me, that all they did was turn on a flashlight and continue shopping like nothing had happened. They didn't even steal anything, literally just continued shopping. I escorted them out, and thusly the store was empty of customers, and every remaining employee aggregated to the front near the doors, where the emergency power shut down every register. And the only thing illuminating the store at this point were small lights lining the outside room of the interior of our store. AM tells a lot of us to guard the fire exits, which we have 3 of, in case someone tries to get in or out. Maybe? I honestly don't know the specific reason behind it, but after a while of chatting with the stalker that was guarding one of the fire exits, we got told by OC to go to the front again, where we started making a plan.
Okay, now that everyone's here, first things first, we need to get some screwdrivers and board up the doors.
Everyone laughs from the joke.
Okay, but seriously, we need to do something about all the coolers, and especially the meat. We do not want that getting warm and lose a ton of money.
One of the stalkers says,
We have some saran wrap in the back. We could use that to wrap up the displays and keep them cooler for longer.
I agreed to that and immediately followed him to the back room, where AM tells everyone else to follow us, get some saran wrap, and start wrapping up the middle displays. The displays have the yogurts, the sausages, macaroni salad, etc. First thing I do is tell OC to help me out, getting all the bags of flat pretzels off the top. I get a spare cart that was inside the store, and we start loading it up with the bags. After we're done, I tell OC to hold the wrap down while I wrap all the way around, tripping over display crates and a stack of alcohol all the while. AM is freaking out over the wall of meats because the saran wrap wouldn't hold to make a wall covering it. So they had to improvise. They took cardboard boxes and flattened them to place atop of the meats to keep them cooler just for a little longer. In the end, we had to do the same thing for the juices, the other wall of meats near the front, and the open freezer displays next to the wall of door freezers. Me, OC, and another stalker very shoddily wrapped up 2 displays with the sausages and stuff. Covered up the meat, juices, and open freezers. Unfortunately, we didn't have nearly enough cardboard boxes to cover everything, so the eggs, bacon, cheeses, and their cottage and cream variants, and a few puddings and cakes couldn't be covered up. Honestly, from there, we just kind of loitered around until it was time to go home at midnight. We somehow miraculously did all that work within an hour, after the power went out. By that time, most of the emergency lights were off because emergency power was running super low, so everything was getting darker and darker. The AM had written down all our names to clock us out once the power comes back on, since he, as the top-ranking manager at the time, had to stay in the store to keep it running, relatively at least, and to ensure its safety during the blackout. I talked to him when I came into work today, and apparently it was only literally a few minutes after all of us left, so it didn't take much longer for him to do his last duties and then go home. I can only imagine the hell that the morning shift had to go through, though. Putting all the boxes away, cutting up and removing the saran wrap, and putting lowered price stickers and barcodes on most of the supposed-to-be cold items, especially the meats. On the bright side, the morning manager praised us for our quick thinking and efficiency in taking care of all our stock. Granted, we didn't cover the cheeses and vegetables, but I'll take it nonetheless. The whole thing was one hell of a team-building exercise, though, and the most interesting thing to happen in my short, nearly 3 months of working there. It was a lot of fun too, running around a grocery store while it's pitch black. 5. This is my encounter with a woman who can only be named as Karen. complete with an entitled attitude and the "I want to speak to your manager" haircut. But first, a little backstory. I used to work for a bowling alley that would do children's birthday parties with everything from snacks to the cake. This bowling alley had 8 lanes, and usually for a party the booking would be 2 lanes, and about 10 to 12 people. On more slow days, if people wanted to get a certain lane, we would be able to book them what they wanted. On more busy days, our front desk always said that we cannot provide the requested lane, since most lanes would be filled for the whole day. On that busy Saturday, we had 2 people behind the counter, me and my co-worker M. We had set up everything for the party on the lanes closest to the bar, since they were the only ones free at that time. When in walks Karen with her 2 children, a boy who was about 6 and a girl who was about 3.
Hello, I have a reservation for a children's birthday party under the name Karen.
Hello, yes, we have everything set up ready for the party on lanes 7 and 8.
I think there might be a misunderstanding. We specially requested lanes 1 and 2 for the party, since we've got a lot of small children in the group that can go to the play area next to the lanes.
Sorry, but right now lanes 7 and 8 are the only ones that are free for the 2 hours that is for the party. Meanwhile, the 3-year-old girl who came in with the Karen has wandered off and is playing on the small staircase that leads up to the lanes. This is important for the story later on.
This is an outrage. We requested the lanes so our kids could safely play in the play area.
Sorry, there's nothing we can do about it right now. At one point, one of the bowling machines breaks down and I radio for my co-worker M to get back to the counter while I go fix the machine. While I was fixing the machine, that took about 10 minutes, M has been arguing with the lady over the placement of their lanes, and their reserved game time has already started. I'm sorry, but we cannot give you the other lanes.
But they told me while booking that they will try.
Yes, but they did not guarantee you the lanes. While M was still arguing with the lady, I stood behind her and just smiled the fake customer service smile while not really listening to the conversation, when the Karen suddenly snaps at me.
Why are you laughing at me? I ordered the lanes and I want them now. My son is in the ads for this place, and if I don't get the lanes I want, we are leaving.
When she says this, her son, whose birthday it was visibly upset over the outburst of his mother, and starts to cry.
Look, you made my son cry. Now get me the lanes or I will have you all fired.
While me and Am are still trying to figure the situation out, her 3-year-old daughter who was playing on the small stairs trips and falls on her face. Mother of the Year Karen didn't even notice that she fell, and when the girl runs up to her crying, starts again yelling at us that we're to blame for her daughter's fall. Now with both children crying, she still tries to demand the rear lanes, and is yelling and screaming at the top of her lungs that we are all stupid, and should be fired for being rude to her and her children. At some point after seeing the commotion, our manager, who really doesn't give a shit about people demanding things, comes to the counter and says to the lady,
I'm sorry, but I don't like you abusing and screaming at my staff, and demanding things that are impossible due to the limitations of the booking schedule. If you'd like to still have the party and bowl, you can do it on the lanes we have provided you. If not, we will be calling security and you will still have to pay for the reservations, the food and the drinks, plus a late fee for not starting your game.
After that, the lady just huffed, grabbed her 2 crying kids by their hands and proceeded to the lanes for the party. Later, when it was time to pay, her husband came to the counter. I'm sorry for my wife's outburst. She can be quite a bitch sometimes. Well, at least I'm not married to her. Yeah, that's true. The husband pays the bill and also leaves me and Am a big tip for the trouble we went through with her. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Adventures in Fast Food and Retail number 54. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use and sent in stories for use in this video. If you have a story yourself you'd like to send in, you can send it to kingofthecities@gmail.com. I don't want to jinx it, but I'm having a rare, hassle-free recording session so far. Yep, pretty quiet and peaceful. It's still a bit warm here, so I'm going to cool off a little before I make the next video. And then I'm going to have to give some thought as to what I'm going to do on Thursday, because this will be our first non-glitch week. I am still gathering stories for glitch stories though, so we'll have the big video at the end of the month. Oh, and also I think this week is episode 52 in Spinning Plates. So I want to do something for that. I'm going to try and I usually do 5 stories. Sometimes 6, it's usually just 5. So I might try and do 10. It'd be nice if I could do a double-length video to celebrate. We'll see what I can rustle up. Okay, and with that I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.